deeply associated with the fairy realm and with the crossroads between the worlds and the energy of both sexuality and death. And so this, I've written about it in various different places, and most recently in Sage Woman, there's an article about it. But it's a plant medicine that calls us to be in right relationship with our sexuality as individuals and as a community. Like what is our cultural right relationship with sexuality, which we can probably all agree that there's some things that need some work. But also that energy of death. And one of the folklore of hawthorn is that if you brought hawthorn into the house, it would portend a death in the family. And the flowers are very stinky. They don't smell sweet like roses. They attract flies and ants and things. It's almost like the smell of carrion or the smell of sex. And people have different ideas about what that smell represents to them. To me, it's a very kind of sensual, musky, sexual smell, and I find it to be very arousing. Not an aphrodisiac, so to speak, directly, but the smell of that and like the energy of the sexuality and its association with Beltane or May Day, which is a traditional fertility festival in pagan and Celtic traditions. So there's all that energy with the sexuality and the fertility and like creating healthy sexual relationship, that is connected with heart as well as the body, and then that energy of death. And death is really just a transformation of energy. So when we're working with death energy, it's not about necessarily physical death, although that is part of it. But there's also that element of emotional, spiritual death, or death of things in your life, symbolically, the ending of a job or a relationship or a way of thinking. So hawthorn is the plant that you can call on to help with that transformation energy of what is dying in your life. And it helps you to ask, what needs to be given a good death? What needs to be transformed into a new form? So death is the dissolution of one form, going back into the primordial, like elemental soup of creation, and then being able to come into a new form. So when our body dies, we go back to the earth, and then our spirit is free to reincarnate or do some other work in that realm. But it's a different form. It's not an end, so to speak. It's just a different form. So when you're trying to transform your life from one form into another, this is a good ally to call upon. And it's definitely got that Kali Durga energy of that destruction into creation. So you have to let go of the old, dissolve and destroy what is no longer serving to be able to create this new aspect in your life. So this is a really complex, wonderful plant ally, and I adore it. And it's a plant that doesn't grow near me anymore, and so it's an interesting relationship for me because I spent so much time sitting with the plant and cultivated this really deep understanding and relationship with it, and now it's far away from me physically. And I can work with the leaves and flowers that are dried or have somebody harvest it for me, but most of my spiritual energetic work with it has to come in the non-physical at this point because it doesn't grow near me.